Jimmy was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on the side, like in the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
If you got some shit you wanna ask, you better ask and get it off your chest, but I ain't going through this with you because you don't have enough money for that. No disrespect.
Did I see you time to time? Yes, I did not grow up with you. You talk about dick ride down, that's where this old shit. I would've left you alone, I would've left the old shit alone. But listen, do you remember how we met?
Jim Jones just got exposed in the worst way possible. 50 Cent is standing 10 toes behind Camron, and he's not just talking. He's dropping bombshells about Jim's past, and let's just say it's not looking good. Allegations of snitching, secret betrayals, and even whispers of rappers being taken out are now circling around Jim, and the receipts are piling up fast. Dipset was running Harlem like it owned the place. But behind all the flashy pink furs and the swaggy anthems, the crew was falling apart. Cam and Jim were at each other's throats over power, money, and who really called the shots. And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, 50 Cent slid in like the ultimate puppet master, playing mind games while everyone else was beefing. To understand why this whole situation exploded the way it did, we have to go all the way back. Camron and Jim Jones got the most on-again, off-again rap beef in history. One day they're brothers, the next they're not. Back in 2010, they teased us with Salute, making it seem like the drama was dead. But let's be real, that was a ceasefire, not a peace treaty. By the time the 2010s hit, it was back to the same old mess. Sneak disses, business beef, and enough tension to cut with a machete. Fast forward to 2025, and here we go again. The latest round kicked off when Camron brought 50 Cent onto his It Is What It Is podcast, stirring up a pot that had barely cooled. Now, if you were outside back then, you already know it was one of the pettiest, most chaotic rap beefs ever. But things got extra ugly in 2007 when 50 decided he wasn't just gonna beef with Dipset, he was gonna dismantle them. Cam admitted on his podcast that his move was calculated. He wasn't mad at the strategy, but he was definitely mad at the disrespect. He felt like he was trying to keep the squad together, and 50 was out here playing chess while he was still trying to set up the board. Meanwhile, 50 knew exactly what he was doing. He admitted that he wasn't even sure if Jim would actually show up on stage, but he took the shot, and Jim took the bait.
Me and you were battling during our music thing. You got members of Dipset to come to your show. And I'm like, so I'm sitting there like,
that was
like it's just kind of smoke. Cause I wouldn't have thought about reaching out to Yayo or Lloyd Banks. I'm like, he's going public with this?
I'm like, yo.
What was your thought process behind saying, yo, you know what? The songs. How did this work?
Let me say this, look.
How'd it go?
I was there. I'm in your horse and carriage video. I'm in the pool.
What? You know what? You told me this.
Your horse and carriage video.
You told me this before.
I was in the pool in the horse and carriage video.
Wow, that's crazy.
So if you look, like when everybody's there,
right.
Jimmy was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on the side, like in the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when balling took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing. He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mace be that, and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally he had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, and I knew I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was gonna go for it. Mm-hmm. But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. Then you gotta watch to see how he responds. And then when you see, he like, oh, he really like that. Like, give me this, give me Jimmy. Yeah, tell him we want you at the show, Jimmy. Yeah, but that was one of those things I just threw it out and see what. And then when he bit to it, because it was like he was having a moment that not sure that was going to ever happen again.
And just like that, Dipset was in shambles. Well, turns out Jim Jones was not feeling how his name got tossed around in this. He wasted zero time clapping back on Justin LeBoy's podcast, straight up telling Cam and 50 to keep his name out their mouths.
Be on my right. Cause they got nothing else to think about but Capo. I did a lot for them in their life. You heard? Both of them. Pause though. Get off my dirt. Yeah. There's only space on there for baby girl, man. Come on, man. Tugging on my shit like that.
And it didn't stop there. Jim wasn't just mad about the mention. He wanted to set the record straight.
He ain't think nothing. He could pull nothing together. He couldn't do nothing with me. He couldn't tell me nothing. Let's not get it twisted. Like, nobody could tell me nothing. I was my own boss. I did what I did as a soldier because I was a soldier. You heard? I had the soldiers. They didn't tell me nothing. You heard? I did what I wanted to do. I seen the shit wasn't going right, so I started doing what Jim Jones needed to do for Jim Jones. Because the that was supposed to be the Don wasn't taking care of the capo. Started feeling like the Gotti movie. You heard?
But what was the point where you realized I'm gonna have to do what the I got to do? Because this,
I mean,
they were definitely the last straw.
It's not been in my memory. Like, yo, that was the last show, but it was just the way, the sequence of the way things was going, and it came to a point where I had to worry about who Jim Jones was moving forward. Then I was worried about anybody else, because nobody else was worried about me. I got to a point where I became famous too. There was a point where all the famous people know me. Then after that, it was like, I'm just as famous as all the famous people. I can't do what I used to do for you. You heard? Somebody got to do that for me right now. I'm super lit. You heard? But I put my life on the line for all of this, you know, and everybody knew that. But wasn't doing the same thing in return.
At this point, Jim was unloading receipts. He started peeling back the layers on how Dipset even came together in the first place, throwing it way back to his early days growing up with Mace and Cam. According to Jim, they were all tight back in the day, so tight that both Mace and Cam even crashed at his grandma's house at different points. But of course, things had to get messy, because this is hip-hop we're talking about. When Mati got signed to Bad Boy Records, the dynamic shifted fast. Jim said Mace switched up the second he got his big break and started treating Cam like an outsider, even though Cam had been nothing but loyal. Apparently, Cam was ride or die for Mace, helping him chase his rap dreams and making sure he was good. But the second Mace made it, Jim claims he turned Hollywood. But the real dagger? Jim accused Cam of trying to hold him back then, like he didn't want him to shine outside of Dipset. And to prove his point, he threw another old moment into the mix. The infamous 2007 Hot 97 showdown between Cam and 50. Now, that was a radio moment. So here's what went down. 50 was promoting his album Curtis, and Angie Martinez decided to have some fun by letting fans call in. 50 Cent made a wild statement that set everything off. He called Coke Records a graveyard for rappers. Cam wasn't about to let that slide, so he called into the station mid-interview and went back and forth with 50 Cent live on air.
How'd that make you feel?
But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to explain is, you talk about Chicago's a graveyard, you just let your man.
It is a graveyard. If you got, listen, let me tell you something. Look, if you got, now check this out. Look, initially, when I'm saying that, that's where you go in the majors. Don't act like the general public doesn't know that this is where the artists go after.
Turn that up a little, I can't
The
hear
majors
you.
don't act. Can you hear me, Cam?
I ain't there, brother.
Okay. Like we clear that everybody is visible that this is where artists go after the majors won't invest in them.
All right, let me explain something to you. I got 3 different distributions. I got Def Jam, which is
Listen.
a major. When I got Warner Brothers, which is a major.
Yeah, and the reason why, look, let me tell you,
No.
Cam, for one second.
Wait, Cam, let's hear. Cam, hold up, Cam.
It got so heated that Angie had to cut the interview short because Cam couldn't hold back on the cursing. Then came 50's ultimate power move. Just a few months after the Hot 97 beef, he pulled one of the most petty yet genius stunts of his career. He brought Jim Jones and Jules Santana on stage during a G-Unit show in New York. So Jim saw this as an opportunity. To him, this wasn't about loyalty, it was about business. But to Cam, this was betrayal. After that, Dipset was never the same. Cam distanced himself from Jim, and what was once Harlem's tightest brotherhood became a cold war of sneak disses and silent resentment. Jim had some things to say about that era too. He stood 10 toes down on his decision to join 50 on stage that year, saying it wasn't about Dipset politics, it was strictly business. At the time, We Fly High was the biggest record out, and Jim was in his bag. He wasn't about to let anyone block his moment. To him, stepping on stage with 50 wasn't about picking sides, it was about keeping the momentum going. If you forgot, back in 2018, Tekashi was deep in the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods case, facing federal racketeering and conspiracy charges. He folded fast, taking a plea deal and testifying against his former gang members to cut his sentence. But here's where Jim got caught in the crossfire. During the trial, prosecutors played a wiretapped phone call where Jim, aka Individual 1, allegedly suggested Tekashi needed to be violated for turning on the gang. Jim was never charged, but the internet ran with it. People started whispering about him being an informant, and guess who made it worse? 50 Cent. He reposted a fake viral news story fueling the rumor and threw in his own little messy commentary. Oh, so that's why they ain't pull him in. Say it ain't so, Jimmy. 50 eventually deleted the post, but at that point, The damage was done. The internet grabbed that rumor and ran with it. Jim wasn't having it. He clapped back, saying that 50 was lying and that real street dudes knew the truth about who was solid. He even went on Angie Martinez's show to clear his name, saying people were too quick to believe internet rumors without checking facts.
It's what you do in that brotherhood that kind of twists things up as you go on, but for the most part, we all did the same thing because the love was reciprocated, and this is all we knew how to do given the circumstances that we grew up in and things like that. I fault myself a lot for different things I've did coming up because I know I've used certain things for my advantage, financial advantage, at a point where it was lucrative.
What do you mean, like repping things or saying things?
Like repping things, like, you know, putting things out there, like letting people know what I'm affiliated with, things like that, you know, and at that time it was lucrative.
But at the end of the day, the damage was done. The stigma of being labeled an informant in hip-hop, that's a stain that doesn't wash off easily. In 2019, 50 was already making Jim's life miserable in the comment section of the Shade Room, and you know that's where things get messy. They had posted tweets from a courtroom reporter who revealed that during Tekashi 6699's testimony, he referred to Jim as a retired rapper and a 9 Trey member. 50 immediately hopped in the comments and wrote, "He said Jimmy a retired rapper, yo. LOL," with a bunch of laughing emojis. And he didn't stop there. 50 decided to take the trolling up a notch with a whole video that had fans crying.
I'm so afraid of Ja Rule, Jim Jones, and Freaky that I'm hiding out in Texas. Please, whatever you do, don't tell them I'm in San Antonio. Don't tell them I'm staying at the Four Seasons. Don't tell them, please, just don't tell them, man, because it's just so much pressure on me right now. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid, man.
Fans were cracking up, saying his trolling has reached God level. Then, by 2020, just as Tekashi was about to get early release because of COVID-19, 50 ramped it all the way up. He went straight to Instagram and came for Jim again, posting, "Now individual one, you're gonna have to tell everybody how you were on tape in court on the phone coaching Mel to super duper violate Shorty, but the feds never picked you up because you are doing your job, confidential informant." Jim was not about to let that slide though. He clapped back with his own IG post, dragging 50 for even trying to play with his name. He posted a pic of Mel Murda and wrote, "You have to watch out for these so-called real ones that's routing for rats to come home and want to see real ninjas go to jail. Anyone that needs to try and tarnish another man's name for personal gain has to be a why else would he have my D so far down his throat?" I mean, Jim even addressed it publicly on the Angie Martinez show.
People don't read the facts, they read the gram.
Yeah.
It's a big difference, you know what I mean? And people use the media to do what they do. They blow everything up out of proportion, but as far as my feelings, no, it doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? Of course it took me somewhere else at the moment when I saw it, but then
You calmed down?
Calmed down, sat back, laughed at it, looked at the person
Can you laugh at it?
Laughed at it, looked at the person who was dishing it, thought about it, thought about trying to
Pretending to panic with a 40 Charlie honey, and now I make golly money. Just wanna be cool, but couldn't piss in my body woman. And it's not my nigga, your daughter, bucking in order, bucking the slaughter, running from cops, like a report, sweating niggas, buckets of water. I got the jack running off, it's like looking for a spot, it's like hard to night, body, shit, my start.
Made it clear that if Jim wanted to play the victim, he was not the one to do it with. That was Cam's final mic drop. He said his piece and vowed to never speak on their issues again. But 50 Cent was not going to sit this one out. On January 13th, 50 did exactly what 50 does best: stir the pot. He went straight to Instagram and posted clips of Cam dragging Jim with the shadiest caption, "Individual one. I mean Jomo, Jimmy, you better holla at Cam privately and chill out." Years later, and 50's still using that same nickname to shade Jim like it's nothing. Then he decided to throw more shade by posting a pic of Jim looking like the odd one out in a lineup with Jay-Z, Diddy, Fat Joe, and other industry heavyweights. And of course, he had to add a petty caption, "LOL, individual one calling the shots out here. I know you working, so please don't say gangster stuff to me." Like, sir, is Jim ever going to be free? Jim went straight to IG to clap back, hitting 50 with a throwback flex from his Bird Gang era, fully in his nostalgia bag. He captioned it, "Why you keep on lying, why you keep on lying, lol, I'm going back to sleep. Free Mel Matrix till it's reversed." But Jim wasn't done yet. He made it very clear he wasn't about to let this be just an IG back and forth. He was taking it to the booth. He teased fans with a snippet of what sounded like a diss track, and everybody immediately started speculating that he was about to unload on Camron. And just in case people thought he wasn't really about that energy, Jim hit the timeline with a gym video with a caption that let everybody know he was feeling untouchable. "I'm physically strong, but mentally stronger. They can't do nothing with me." Of course, the comment section went crazy. Some fans were fully convinced Jim was about to take it off the mic and straight into real smoke. One person just said it plain: "Why in getting ready for 50 Cent?" Jim might be hitting the gym, but 50 Cent is still flexing where it really matters, on the internet, where his trolling game is undefeated. But Jim is not hiding out. In fact, he went straight to Cam Capone to set things straight, specifically the claims that he's not from Harlem.
Yeah, it's a good joke, man, but we all know what's going on, man. You dig? I'm definitely raised in the Bronx, but I mean made in the Bronx, and Harlem raised me. Funny thing about it, I was born in a hospital called Flower Fifth Avenue, which is not in Harlem anymore, right beneath Harlem. That's where I was actually born, and you can look it up. I got a birth certificate. So do your research, you're a journalist. The hospital is called Flower Fifth Avenue.
Meanwhile, we're waiting for Camron to reply once again. He's already on to the next bag, probably somewhere laughing at all this. But Jim is still trying to fight off the whispers. And 50? He's just doing what he does best, stirring the pot and keeping the timeline entertained. So, what happens next? Will Jim Jones ever shake the informant rumors? Or is 50 just warming up for another round? Either way, Harlem's most iconic crew might never be the same. But knowing 50, he's not done yet. There's always another petty move in the chamber. Let us know what you think and check out the next video for more tea.